I love it. I don't get notification that I'm live. But here we go. Here we go. A little late, but whatever. It's here. Weekends in the summer always had a different feeling growing up. You'd wake up without an alarm. Cartoons were already on. The bike was probably waiting outside. And somewhere in the neighborhood, somebody was asking, "You want to come outside? Do you? Can so and so come out and play?" I don't know why I'm pausing. I'm just like, oh, what? Not today. It's too hot. Um, there wasn't much of a plan. The day just kind of happened, and somehow I have no idea why I paused there. I was just like, all right. Who's in the chat? Leanna, Menace, Nix, all in here. Let's just start over. We're live. We're live, pal. We're live. Weekends in the summer always had a different feeling growing up. You'd wake up without an alarm. Cartoons were already on. Bike was probably waiting outside, and somewhere in the neighborhood, somebody was asking, "Can so and so come out and play? You want to come outside? What are you doing? Let's go to the park." There wasn't much of a plan. The day just kind of happened. We didn't have an itinerary. We didn't have put on the schedules kind of thing. Let's set it up. No, like let's go bike riding. Let's go across. Let's go to the ditch, the creek. We call the creek the ditch. We call the ditch the creek. Something like that. Whatever. Um, those were fun days. But somehow those were always the days we remember the most. Welcome back to my third place. Not home, not work, but the familiar in between where nostalgia, pop culture, gaming, and chaos all collide to be young and carefree again. Exactly. What we do on the show is reminisce about everything from 80s, 90s, and early 2000s from movies, TV shows, comics, wrestling, our hobbies, which include and not limited to Pokemon, Marvel Rival Gaming, collecting physical media. Oh, there's going to be a lot of that. TikToking and internet culture. Each week, any water already? Each week, the community joins us through the live chat on TikTok or YouTube for pod deck questions. Longest intro ever. Debates, top five lists, games, and deep dives, including your ongoing journey through dungeon. Our ongoing journey through dungeon crawler Carl. It's less like a formal podcast and more like pulling up a chair in a room full of your friends and sharing stories, laughing, remembering the things that made us who we are, carefree and young again. Welcome to your third place. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for posting. Appreciate all that. This is episode 305. Tonight is just me on the porch. No co host to tag in, just another weekend check in as we head into one of the biggest stages of the summer because the 2026 FIFA World Cup is officially entering the round of 32. Let me do that again. The round of 32. That was beautiful. For those of you, you'll get to hear it later with the Neko. And the group stage gave us surprises, gave us heartbreak, gave us underdogs, and gave us favorites that suddenly looked vulnerable. But now there are no second chances. Win and you move on, lose and your World Cup journey is over. Tonight, we'll be breaking down the entire round of 32. Who's advancing, which countries are phasing off, who has the toughest road to the final, and perhaps the biggest question of all, did our teams make it? Not all of them. Not all of them. Let me tell you that right now. We'll check in on Mexico, the United States, Brazil, Norway, Argentina, and Portugal, and see how they survive the opening rounds and talk about who looks ready to make a deep tournament run. We'll also react to everything that went down at the United Champions, maybe. Nah. Maybe we'll save it for another week, another day. Nah, you know what? Let's just do it right now. Who exceeded our expectations? Who shocked us? Which predictions did we actually get right? Which ones deserve to be quietly erased from the record books? We'll also take we'll cut that off. We'll also take a quick look behind the scenes here at the podcast. Every once in a while, it's fun to stop and check the analytics. Who's listening? What's connecting with the community? What's growing? And where does the front porch continue to surprise me? Then we'll jump into a story that's become a reminder of just how fragile digital ownership can be. Reports of Sony removing hundreds of digital purchase movies and TV shows have reignited the conversation about why physical media still matters. hmm I got my stuff behind me. If you've been around this podcast for a while, you already know this would have been a great conversation for Greg right here. It would have, um, because we can talk about this for hours. And like, well, I'll have to like give it to him next week and remind him about this. Remind me to put this back on here and tell him about it next week as well. Um, we can't seem to go very long without talking comics or animation, so we're checking in on the newly revealed episode titles for season 2 of X-Men 97. Sometimes the title is just a title, other times it's packed with clues. So we'll put in our tinfoil hats for a little while and theorize about what those episode names might mean, who could be showing up, and where the story could be heading next. And finally, we'll head back to the dungeon, continuing our ongoing journey through book 4 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you've been following this journey with me, you already know these books somehow keep getting bigger, stranger, funnier, and more emotional all at the same time. We'll recap the opening chapters, talk about the moments that stood out, and continue what has quietly become one of my favorite ongoing conversations in this podcast. So, whether you're here for the World Cup, wrestling, physical media, X-Men, or just another late night conversation on the porch, pull up a chair. This is episode 305 of the M3P podcast. Let's get into it. All right. Week was great. No, not really. Yeah, the week was great. I ordered a bunch of stuff, and today I guess it came in. So we're about to open that up, and I'm about to get restricted, and I don't care. Um, so lately, been going to Walgreens, and like they don't sell stuff anymore. They don't have the Pokemon stuff anymore. So I looked at my old ones and see if like I can go to the website, and I did, and somebody has said that they gave them a rating of 0 stars or 1 star because they said that their um, pack that they got was all fake and stuff. So I'm like, oh, bet. Let me see. So I bought one. I'm gonna do the fake test. So it came in. It's here. We're gonna find out if it's fake or not. This one right here. I'm about to get restricted. I don't care. Let's go. Let's do it. Do it already. Do it. Do it. And the lamp turned off by itself. I don't know. You gotta like charge it overnight or something. No, I did. I just wanted to see like, oh, you think it's fake? Let me go and buy one and do the fake test. See if they really are fake. And then if they're not, I can just go in there like, they're not fake. I did the fake test. You can too. But if they're not fake, if they're fake, they're fake. If they're not fake, I'll just go in and back over there and buy some more because they look awesome as hell. Okay, so far they're fine. And here we go. B drill. Shit, I forgot where I'm at. Here, B drill, Swablu. Who's that? Leiron. That what he's supposed to look like? Daramuka. Dash Bun. They look fine to me, right? Fanfi, Wood Trio, Pineco, Professor's Research, Harley Quinn. That's it. What do I have more of? I want to keep that beat drill. Uh, Daramaka. They're fine. They're good. Watch everybody be like, "How dare you rip up a card?" They're real. That's the real test. Relax. I have like a lot of these in the over there, and that's how you know they're real when they have the ink right there. So, you know, just to troll, I'm probably gonna argue with the ladies. Like, shut up, they're real. um, for sure. So yeah, that's fun. Um, what else? So got went and got some stuff today. Another clip for the Marvel Rivals. I got this Venom right here. Venom, 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 and now I got Magic. I'm probably gonna put her somewhere else up there. Same thing that she does there. Uh, this card, Barrows. I'm all about just singles, not really. And Clefable. I made a mistake of calling it Clefairy. Went to the comic book store. I was like, yeah, let me get the tin can. She's all like, which one? And I'm like looking at the Gengar in there. I was like, Clefairy. She's like, Clefairy. Oh yeah. Uh, can you get him the Clefairy? Clefable. The Clefable is Clefable. The pink can, the pink tin can. Let me get the pink tin can, okay? Yes, here's your pink tin can. So here it is. And I'm like, what's in there? She told me what's in there, and I'm just like, all right, I'll take it anyways. But you know what? Whatever. I haven't had a tin can in a while. Um, Obviously, I want to put the tin right up there. I already have one up there. You guys, where are you guys at? This one. There you go. You see it? Right there. Everyone on YouTube, zoom in. That's all you gotta do. All right, so here we go. And while I'm doing that, let me do some ASMR stuff. Here's what's in it. Since I know I'm not never gonna get her on the thing. Ooh, damn. There's a promo card, Mega Clefable. That means I gotta add her with the Clefairies as well. Love it. And I think TikTok was just waiting for me to do that so it can restrict me about this. Um, what's inside? 2 Chaos Risings and 2 Perfect Orders. And that's about it. We can open those later. And the tin can, which I'm going to put right up there. Or put stuff inside here. Okay, so yeah, that was that. Thank you for the roses, Vicky. Appreciate them. What else happened today? I think that's about it. A couple years ago, y'all know I was on Tumblr like in 2023 the entire time. Um, one for each of you. Oh, thanks, appreciate that. Where's our girl? She's in the chat. So a couple of years ago, I was on Tumblr. Um, made friends that I've known for like 15 years now, and they have this website. It's called inkypinkypromise.com, and she has the cutest stuff in here. Um, a mochi mellow squishy bear that says you made it through the day. Some ice cream pans, some 2.5 inch you're not too much stickers, Zombie Shores notepad, mailbox desk organizer, all kinds of just stuff that you'll love. Pins, stickers, collections, um, stationery kits, bad day stationery kits, all that stuff. I you she made me a crochet of Superman back in the day. So, and I was like, I'm gonna order a bookmark from here so I can like use it for the book. So it's inkypinkypromise.com. I'm gonna put the thing in the show notes, the description, and the website so y'all can go through it and look at it. So yeah, that's about it. That's all. I think that's all I got today. That sounds good. All right. Yeah. Like yeah. I'll put her in the show notes. She'll be like right on the bottom, right next to Sabrina's baking stuff, so you guys can like check that out too, if you guys haven't. Um. All right. Before we jump back into the standings and all the crazy matches from this week, it's time for another edition of World Cup 101. This is part of the show where we help out the casual fans. Maybe this is your first World Cup, the first time ever watching it. Maybe you only watch every few years. Obviously, every few years, every 4 years. We got you covered. Every week, we'll spend a couple minutes breaking down one rule, one tradition, or one piece of soccer history. So by the time the World Cup finals rolls around, you'll know exactly what's going on. This week, let's talk about what is VAR, Video Assistant Referee. Probably the biggest rule change in modern soccer. Years ago, if the referee missed a call, that was it. Fans would argue about it for years. Today, there's something called VAR, which stands for Video System Referee. Think of it like the replay booth in the NFL. Officials upstairs can review important plays like goals, penalty kicks, red cards, or cases of a mistaken identity. Like lately, they've been using it because of offsides. Um, Sometimes you'll see the referee make a rectangle with their hands or a triangle. I know what I did. That means they're reviewing the play on video. So if you ever celebrated a goal and then suddenly everyone stopped celebrating, offside, that's because they're reviewing, they're checking if something was messed up, if there was a foul before the goal, and you know. So and then the commentators are like, "All right, get your throat ready," and that's the funniest thing I ever heard. Because like, you're sitting there watching the entire show, and then that happens, and then one of them says to the other one, "Get your throat ready," and I'm just like, "What?" Exactly, exactly. And then, and like, it's funny if it went in English, but it's totally out of the ordinary in Spanish. Like, ayuda la, usa la garganta, prepara la garganta, prepara la garganta. And then he says it, and I'm just like, wait, does that mean what I think it means? Get your throat ready. I'm just like, yes, it does. And then they say it's a goal, and he says it. It's like, all right, do it. Goal. Um, the most confusing rule of soccer is the offside. Um, Imagine you're playing tag. You can't stand right next to the finish line waiting for someone to throw you the ball. You can't. You have to be involved in the play. In soccer, when a teammate passes you the ball, you must have at least two defenders, including the goalkeeper or another defender, between you and the goal line at the moment the pass is made. If you're already behind those defenders, if you're already behind those defenders before the pass, that's offside. The play stops, no goal. It keeps players from cherry picking near the goal all the time. All right, so that was two of them. Um, every week we're going to spend about 2 minutes explaining one part of soccer that longtime fans already know, but casual fans might not. By the time the World Cup final gets here, you'll know enough about the sport to watch a match with anyone that actually understands what's going on. I'm in here. It's me, Jessica. Yeah, they're all having fun in the chat right now. Sorry. I love that. I'm just letting them have fun. It's okay. The standings, the freaking World Cup, the 32. Man. The bracket. Everybody is set. Yeah, everybody is set. When all right, here's who didn't make it. There was a match earlier, um, Colombia versus Portugal, and that was the Ronaldo one. Like why? Uh, Colombia versus Portugal, and they tied at 0. They couldn't make it. No, none of them did. Well, I don't think Colombia did. I don't think Portugal did at all because they were waiting for Congo versus Uzbekistan, and Congo won that match against them. So, like everybody was rooting for freaking Ronaldo, and even freaking Speed. Speed was up there like every game, just live streaming the entire game, watching his boy Ronaldo play and shit. And like I don't know, they made Ronaldo seem like he was a goat or something, and it's just like that's fine. It's like out because I don't know anything about him at all. It's like I know about Messi because Argentina is one of my favorite teams. They've been for a while since Maradona, but like I want to see what Ronaldo was about, and they didn't even throw him the ball or anything because egos and stuff. So it was like every time they like even the first match they lost, I'm just like, is this your king? Is this who you grew up and like rooting and telling me all about? And this is what happens. All right, so the bracket of round 32. Um, it starts on Sunday, today. Sunday, if you're here already on a Sunday, it starts today between South Africa and Canada. That's part of it. Um, Monday, we got Netherlands versus Morocco, Germany versus Paraguay, and then France versus Sweden on Tuesday. And then July 1st, Belgium versus Senegal, USA versus Bosnia. July 2nd, we got Spain versus Austria. Oh, Portugal's still in there. Okay. I thought they were out. And Colombia are still in there. All right, cool. So Thursday, we got Portugal versus Croatia. That's funny because tomorrow I'm going to go eat some Croatian food at the festival across the street. So, yeah. Um, and then we got tomorrow another match as well. Brazil versus Japan. Cote d'Ivoire versus Norway, Mexico versus Ecuador, England versus Congo, Switzerland versus Algeria, Colombia versus Ghana, Australia versus Egypt, and Argentina versus Cabo Verde. So you all know who we're rooting for. Once again, let me tell you, USA, who they're facing with against Bosnia, Portugal versus Croatia, Brazil versus Japan, Norway versus Cape, Mexico versus Ecuador, um, and Argentina versus Cabo Verde at the very end of the 32. So those are the ones that we're going to be rooting for in the 32. Um, who's facing who? Uh, Argentina is probably going to be facing Mexico in the quarterfinals, or like Mexico or Norway, because Mexico and Norway have to face each other, and Brazil have to face each other as well. Ivory Coast, thank you, Menace. Appreciate that. I'm gonna forget all about it, but um, who is it? Cote? Is that what that is? Norway versus Ivory Coast. There you go. Thank you, Menace. Appreciate that. All right, that was fun. That was good to know. No problem. And do I need to like? No, I don't. Okay. I'm trying to think if I need to like bring up anything that I did. Any of the finish the pod decks and over there. I don't think I do. We can work. We can wait with that for Greg's episode when Greg comes back. Um. All right. Let's fine. It's here. Let's talk about it. If you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time, you know we have a soft spot for physical media, DVDs, Blu-rays, books, physical books, not audiobooks. That shelf in your house that your family keeps asking, why are you still buying movies? Well, this week we got another reminder of exactly why. And if you're someone who has ever clicked that little buy now digital button, and if you're someone who has ever clicked that little buy now button on a digital movie, you might want to hear this. So, according to reports, PlayStation users in the UK recently received an email informing them that hundreds of movies and TV seasons they had purchased would no longer be available to watch without the licensee's agreement with Studio Canal. We're not talking about a streaming subscription ending. We're talking about movies people believed they had bought. Over 550 films and TV seasons are affected, including titles like Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Evil Dead 2, Bridget Jones' Diary, The Big Sick. After the license expires, those titles are simply gone for affected users. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that isn't the first time. PlayStation previously announced similar removals, including Studio Canal in parts of Europe and later Warner Brothers Discovery content in the US, although some of those earlier plans were later revised after public backlash. Um, buy doesn't always own own. Buy doesn't always mean own. This story highlights something we've been talking about on this show for years. When you buy a DVD, it's yours. When you buy a Blu-ray, it's yours. When you buy a VHS, guess what? It's yours. Nobody can remotely decide you don't get to watch it anymore. But with digital purchases, those little things that it's on my PlayStation, it's on my thing, a lot of the time you're not buying the movie itself. You're buying a license to access the movie under certain terms. Do you accept the terms and agreement? Meta says buying digital equals borrow. Oh, God. Can I borrow that digital movie for like $35? um, Nobody can remotely decide you don't get to watch it anymore. But with digital purchases, a lot of the time you're not buying the movie itself. You're buying a license to access that movie under certain terms. If that license disappears, so can your access. It's one of the biggest differences between ownership and access. This is why physical media still matters. This is why I keep telling you go buy those DVDs, go buy the cassettes, go buy the CDs, go buy the stuff. Like you can't access Garth Brooks on uh where is it? Uh Spotify. But if you have his CDs from way back in the day, you can listen to it all the time. Um Certain songs that you can't listen to because, copyright, they don't want you. They don't want to do that. They don't want to put it out there. So that's why you have the CD. That's why you have the cassette. Um, Streaming is convenient. I get it, but digital libraries are convenient also. Having your movies instantly available, love that. But convenience comes with trade offs. Your favorite movie can leave a streaming service overnight. A digital storefront can close. Licensing agreements can change. Um, if you have the Charm DVD, the original Charmed on DVD, and you know how the show starts. We are the sun, you are the moon. Him, he's not in the. He's not on Netflix. He's not on any of these other shows, streaming services. That's what sucks. But if you do have it, and it's probably like the same thing with these other shows where somebody also said, "What I like about you," the one show with Amanda Bynes, it's on Netflix, but the original song, is not. Like unless you have the DVD. Um, this is why so many collectors still buy physical media. I buy physical media not because they're against technology, but because they like knowing that 20 years from now, they can still pull that movie off the shelf and hit play. No internet, no subscription, no licensing agreement, no permissions required. So here's today's question. Are you team digital or team physical media? If you buy a movie digitally, do you feel like you actually own it? Or has this whole era of disappearing content convinced you it's worth keeping a shelf of DVDs and Blu rays around? Do I need to do another physical media episode? I think we do. Here are some movies you need to keep on your thing before they disappear forever. Um, every few months, a story like this comes along, and it reminds us that maybe that old DVD collection wasn't clutter after all. Maybe it was future proofing. And suddenly, that friend who never stopped buying physical media, Greg, they're looking pretty smart right about now. Hmm. He really is. He has all that physical media in his back in the background. Y'all seen him. Y'all seen his um during the episodes. Y'all seen him doing stuff. True. Yeah. All right. Horror fans, get around the security office, check the cameras, and whatever you do, don't run out of power because we're finally got our first real update on Friday Nights at Freddy's 3, and this could be the biggest piece of news that the franchise has received since the sequel was announced. If you've been following these movies, you know they've done something interesting. Instead of making one-to-one adaptations of the games, they treated the source material more like a roadmap. They take the characters, the lore, and the major story beats, but they're not afraid to change things to fit a movie audience. And judging by this latest update, their approach isn't changing anytime soon. One of the biggest announcements is that Gary Doverman is coming on board to write the screenplay, If that name sounds familiar, there's a good reason. He's been behind some of the biggest horror movies of the last decade, including It, Annabelle, The Nun, Salem's Lot. So there was one criticism some fans had about the first two Friday Nights at Freddy's movies was that they leaned more into mystery and lore than outright scares. Bringing in someone like Doberman's horror resume feels like a signal that the next chapter could raise the stakes. The good news doesn't stop there, though. Director Emma Tammy is expected to return, helping to keep the series visually consistent. Series creator Scott Cotton is also staying on as a producer, which should reassure longtime fans that the game's lore will still be respected. And because the last movie ended on a pretty major cliffhanger, it's expected we'll see the return of Josh Hutcherson, Piper Rubio, and Elizabeth Lale, which is exactly what you want after where the story left off. Here's the debate though. Will this movie actually adapt Five Nights at Freddy's 3, or will it continue doing its own thing? If you play the game, if you play the games, you know the third entry introduces some of the most important pieces of FNAF lore and one of the franchise's most iconic settings. But this time, the movies have already shown they're willing to remix timelines, characters, and events to tell a different version of the story. So maybe we'll get elements from the third game. Maybe we'll get something completely original. Maybe it'll be a combination of both. Um, if you play the games, would you rather see the movies become faithful scene for scene adaptations, or do you like that you've been carving out their own version of FNAF while borrowing from the games? Sometimes the best adaptations don't copy the source material. They capture the feeling that made everyone fall in love with in the first place. And for FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, that feeling has always been simple. You're alone, the lights are flickering, the power is almost gone, and something is moving just outside the camera's view. Puppets. Puppets. Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. Great. Um, Marvel has officially revealed the episode titles and release scheduled for X-Men 97 Season 2, and just from the titles alone, it looks like we're in for another ride. Just like last season, they're not exactly being subtle with the comic book references. The season kicks off with a three-episode premiere on July 1st before moving to weekly episodes through August 12th. Here's what we're getting. July 1st, Episode 1, Days of Past Future. Episode 2, A Force to Be Reckoned With. Episode 3, Rise of the Apocalypse, Part 1. I love how they did that. Oh, you get a Part 1. Next week, you have to wait a whole week. You get a Part 2. Um, the rest of the season rolls out with Rise of the Apocalypse Part 2, Weapon X, Lies and DVDs, Danger.exe, Danger X, Strange Land, Savage Heart, The Dead Man's Hand, Survival of the Fittest. Um, they Weapon X, Lies and DVDs. Sounds like somebody asked Wolverine to work at Blockbuster. So, it's gonna get there. The biggest clue is that the very first episode, Days of Future Past, has to be a nod to one of the most iconic X-Men stories ever, Days of Future Past. Um, Only this time it's just one dystopian timeline. The X-Men are scattered across multiple points in history. Some members, including Professor X, Rogue, Beast, Nightcrawler, and Magneto, are stranded in 3000 BC Egypt, where they're coming face to face with a apocalypse before he became the legendary villain we know. Meanwhile, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, and Morph are fighting an entirely different version of Apocalypse thousands of years in the future. If season one was emotional, I can't feel you. Season two looks like it's going full comic book insanity. That's exactly what we want. Um, I can't feel you. Okay, Days of Past Future looks awesome. It sounds like it's gonna be an awesome episode because we're gonna like all three episodes on one day. It's gonna be like um we get to see the past 3000, we get to see the future, a force to be reckoned with, and then we get to go back to the rise of Apocalypse, probably his backstory because we season one brought a lot of backstory to Bastion and like Hopefully, the producer of directors of this season will do what the director or producer of last season did in 2023. He was on Twitter explaining to us what we need to watch from the original X-Men, what episodes to understand what some of the stuff. And I'm just like, he's giving us clues. So hopefully this season we get the same thing. Danger dot X is probably going to be the Danger Room, but from what I hear, Danger Room is coming alive. So he's an AI. It's an AI. I heard it was a woman. Strange Land, Savage Heart is probably going to have to do with the Savage Land, dinosaurs, and all that stuff. The Dead Man's Hand. I can't feel you. Probably going to have to do with Gambit. As we all know, I hate to talk about this. As we all know, he died last year because you have to watch it. Um, remember the name. That's the name of the episode. But like Dead Man's Hand is poker reference, aces and eights. Um, so yeah, you're gonna have to watch the. I'm gonna have to watch this one. And Survivor the Fittest. It's just like so weird that they're putting it like close to the ending. Like hopefully they put the whole Gambit situation like around those 3 or 4 episodes, not at the very end. Because what we're gonna get a third season, I get that, but I don't want to wait for another year to know what he's gonna do, what's gonna happen to him when we waited like already 2 years already for this. So what do you guys think of these episodes? Let me know in the comments. Uh, how long are we? 42 minutes. I love that. um, and speaking of things that make us feel old, can you believe Pokemon is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year? No way. Scalpers. Um, 30 years, that means there are adults today who weren't even born when Pokemon Red and Green first launched in Japan. That means to celebrate, the Pokemon Company has a lot planned. Um, Japan is getting a brand new Pokemon TCG expansion called Storm Emerald on July 31st. As always, Japanese sets send to preview what's coming internationally. For meanwhile, Pokemon trading card game Pocket players won't have to wait long. The next digital expansion, Ruler of the Skies, arrive in July 30th. And I don't like to use that one. Like they update the new system every month. So every month you get a new pack. So while you're trying to like master set the pack that they have now daily, there's a new one coming up the next. And then you're still on what? I'm still on the first one when I first joined like last year. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'll come back around every once in a while to like open new packs. If I get the new shinies, screenshot it, print them out, show them. Look what I got. Look what I got from the digital one. Yay! Like this one. They don't mean anything here at all. But the fact that like I pulled it the from the pocket one, it's like sure, why not? Um, that's fun. Um, Delta Rain for players collecting physical English cards. Delta Rain is expected to release this November, bringing many of those Japanese cards overseas. And then comes the big one. On September 16th, Pokemon is releasing the 30th celebration expansion worldwide, a simultaneous global release 30 years after Pokemon first began. Um, and looking even further ahead, Japan will release Aura Seeker on November 27th, headlined by one of the franchise's coolest Pokemon, Lucario, returning in its Mega Evolution, which means Mega Evolution continues making a huge comeback in both the games and the trading card game. Uh, as for the Pokédex, I finished the Pokédex. My Pokédex is done. I got all the cards. They're done. It's done. It's like I started last year, and then I went to this um, antique store and found the rest that I needed that I was looking for. And it was so easy for me because I had the antique store and I had all these sets, and I went on TCG and bought it. And it's like how everyone is saying is like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. Find it. Look for it. Look for it. So it's done. It's done. And I'm just like looking at the thing, and then there came the news that Generation 10 is coming next year, and then there's going to be 200 more new Pokemon. And I'm just like, should I buy another binder? Because I'm going to have to want to buy those too. And you know what? Instead of doing that, I bought three different 480 pocket binders where I could include all of them. But I was bored. So I looked around, and somebody on YouTube had made a video about doing all the Pokédex in their own way, where not only is it like, just the regular characters, but the mega characters as well as the Alolan, Hisuian, or Galarian characters in there. So I said, bet, let me do that too, you know? And while we're doing that, let's include the Paradox Pokemon. Let's include the fireworks that are going on outside. Let's include more stuff. So I started over. I started over doing a new Pokedex and adding more cards to it. So yeah. So here's the question for this moment. If you had to pick just one thing you're most excited for, what is it? The return of X-Men 97, Pokemon's 30th anniversary, the new trading card sets, or is it another piece of your childhood that's making a comeback you're counting down the days for? If there's one thing 2026 has taught us, is that being a 90s kid is paying off. Our favorite cartoons are back. Our favorite movies turn into cartoons, turn into movies. Hopefully we get X-Men. She's excited for X. Nyx is excited for X-Men. Our favorite trading cards are back, and every week feels like another chapter of our childhood getting brand new sequel. It'll take. I'll take that all day. It has been fireworks around here for the past 3 days. I wonder why. What's today? We have a whole week, and then we have another week to celebrate as well. July 4th next Saturday, and then if the festival's tomorrow, and then it's not like we're gonna stop shooting fireworks outside until like another few weeks. It's annoying the growlers. I'm sorry, it's annoying the doggies. I understand that. I feel that. I used to have growlers too. Um. Okay. Let me get some water because we're about to go into crawler territory. Nix, you're gonna yeah. This is where we talk about the book. This is where we talk about the book. He hasn't. Good on him. Shit. Sorry guys. I keep forgetting I have this thing right here turned on. Everything is hot. Ah. That's disgusting. Why is it so hot in here? All right, spoiler warning. We're going through major events from chapters 15 to 24. Um, if you still haven't heard anything from chapters 1 through 14, listen to the last episode. We'll talk about it all there. There's still 10 more chapters left to go through for book 4 before I finish the entire book. And be referencing specific scenes, twists, and character moments as I remember them. So nothing is being held back here. Last time we broke down the earlier stretch of book four, we were already starting to see something different happening on floor five. The dungeon wasn't just drawing monsters anymore. It was building a full ecosystem, politics, factions, followers, castles in the sky, and a growing sense that Carl wasn't just surviving the crawl anymore. Almost there, almost in the end. He was influencing it. And I said it then, and I'll say it again now. Book four is awesome. Book four is where the dungeon stops feeling like a game and starts feeling like a living network. Anybody? Hmm. Thought I would mute it for a minute. I'm like, what? It said mute it. No. Okay, cool. All right, chapters 15 to 16, Mystery into Chaos. You love book four. I love book four. Chapter 15 feels like stepping into a detective game. Detective game. Yeah, book four is my favorite so far. Because of certain things that happen throughout the book. Um, it's funnier. Like book three had a death scene, which we all know why, but book four is just it feels so alive. It's so much better, and I'll tell you in a few, and I'll tell you in a few which ones are my favorite so far. It's like I have a ranking already. So book four, chapter 15 feels like your detective game. You're collecting clues. Chris Andrews acting strange. Maggie Mai's presence lurking underneath. She's a worm now, and she's inside Aunt Chris. Follower spikes that don't feel natural. Carl starting to suspect he's being observed in real time. It's low tension. It's analysis mode. It's something is wrong, but I can't prove it yet. And then chapter 16 says, cool theory. That's great. I'm glad you think so. I'm going to let you finish. Now forget all that. It turns into a full wild goose chase across the desert with NPC behavior that feels unpredictable, chaotic, and borderline surreal. The pattern for book four that I started to notice was every series chapter gets followed by something completely unhinged. And that's why it feels like my favorite book because the rhythm of it made it so addictive. Like you're expecting that now. And I think I'm theorizing, my theory is that by the end of the book, something crazy is gonna happen, and then we won't get that something unhinged anymore. It's gonna get, oh shit, this is for real. Um, I'm trying to think of the crazy stuff that's happened. The the death of, who was it? A Florence friend, the alligator. Lucia Marr killing her, and then we step into the toe in Humptown, and Mordecai and Carl are just talking to each other, but they're staring at each other. Nix, um, imagine when you're talking to someone and your head is like texting. So you're walking. So you, instead of just doing that, but for them, it's just like they stare at each other. So they walk into this bar and they're staring. The two characters are staring at each other, having a conversation with each other, and it's like two paragraphs long. Exactly, it's two paragraphs long that they have their freaking dialogue next to each other, and they're just talking. And then when one of them realizes, all right, everybody's staring at us, we got to get back to talking about stuff. And he's all like, so anyway, so this blah blah blah. Everybody's just like, what are these two doing? Like, what's going on? What are they doing? Why are they staring at each other? Oh, they're doing that whole thing where they're talking with each other's minds and shit. Oh, cool. But they don't have phones. They're just like having a chat inside the system. So Staring contest, exactly. So it went from this death scene that happened to this funny scene over here to two recruits who one of them is telling this Mystique looking girl, "Can you change into Lola Bunny? Can you change into that the rat girl from um Gadget, the Chippendale Rescue Rangers? Can you change into Jessica Rabbit?" So like everything that he ever loved back in the day of as kids, like he want this Mystique girl to change into, and she would for them, and that's what she was doing. And then they're drunk, they're high, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Calling Donut the cat a dog, and the cat is all like, "You mother freaking heck." Um, so the death scene happened, this scene happened, another that crazy death scene happened, and then this scene happened, which was unhinged also. Um, what else? Did we meet the by this time did we meet the goose? The wild goose chase. The goose, like where they had to like go up to a castle and like, "Hey little girl, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, my dad's dead though." I was like, "What? What happened?" So they investigate everything, and then a boss battle happens, and there's a goose, and they can't use magic because magic is not allowed. So Carl grabs him and puts him on the sink and turns on the thing, and that's how they kill the goose. Drink my lemonade. And she's under a spell where she's telling people, drink my lemonade, drink my lemonade, drink this lemonade. And he's all like, fine, I'll drink it. So he drinks it, and the AI is telling him, it's just lemonade, dude. I don't think you, why'd you think it was going to be something different? Also, the AI has a fetish, foot fetish. Yeah. So, so Carl is just a guy in his boxers with no shoes and the gerbil scene, everything that just happened, and then they go down, and then all these little balls come down that they were supposed to, um, they're like bombs, but they were balls, and inside the balls were gerbils. So all these gerbils started attacking the town, and the AI was having a case of blue balls because he didn't get anything out of the whole situation with Carl. So Donut and Katya and the other team is like, step on them already. Do what, give him the satisfaction, give him that, at least do it. And he's all like, fine. So he starts stepping on the gerbils, and the AI is satisfied with that moment. It's Nick, I'm trying to explain this to you. Are you still in? Just listen. Just listen. Listen, okay? It's a crazy unhinged book, and we love it. It's oh god. How do I explain this to my family? What are you reading, Dungeon Crawler Carl? And then today, um, Secret Agent Man came on and obviously sent it to you. Um, and it's from here, and it sounds so innocent, but then once you read it, oh my, like what? You thought these other books about Akatar and a crown of thorns and something was whoa? No. Whoa is this? I was laughing so hard. I'm glad you were. Chapter 17 to 19, Internal Affairs and System Pressure. Um and so this is a stretch in the entire 17, 18, 19. We get a Loida incident fallout. A Loida is a fish, the fastest fish that you were laughing about also. Um Carl pulled into interviews and system questioning, or in basically interrogating Carl like in their internal affairs. But he said it himself, "I'm not, I'm not a judge. I'm not a cop. I'm just doing my job." Um, this reminded me less of fantasy and more of police procedural interrogation scenes. Reality show producers trying to control narrative damage. Carl just isn't just fighting monsters anymore. He's being audited. He was, and what stood out the most was the 5 days had passed during all of this. Um, when Mordecai did his thing and went after Chaco, and he tried to throw a chair at him using his tongue. He was a he Mordecai was he changed Mordecai changes from every floor. There's 18 floors. Book one has floor one and floor two. Book two has floor three. Book three has floor four, which is a train station. It was horrible. It was like, but still, I liked it. Book four has this whole desert thing as a floor. Every floor, the the um the Mordecai guy changes into something different. This time, the last floor he was in, he was a frog. This time he's a eagle. So the floor that he was in a frog, he grabbed a chair with his tongue and threw it at one of the guys that were like at him in the safe space um, area. That's a big no-no. So he got a warning and then taken away for like 10 days around there. So like the thing here is that 5 days had passed, and when he got taken away for 10 days, when he came back, it felt like just a second because he remembers everything that happened, and he goes back to like, "Where'd he go? What do you mean I've been gone for 10 days?" Like, so this one, he's Carl and Donut been gone for 5 days, getting interrogated by Oren guy. Um, 5 days where ranking shifts, other crawlers progress, and Carl is stuck in bureaucratic limbo. It felt like video game meta, logging into an MMO and realizing the world kept going without me. Sometimes you get decompression chapters to like, all right, this is what just happened. To let's decompress a minute. Let's calm down. Let's talk about this. And then once you talk about it, here comes the funny thing, and you're just like, what the hell? um, but chapter 20 is basically an emotional cooldown. Carl and Donna get dragged into a weird promotional interview setup involving toy branding and immediately goes off the rails. Carl ends up reading from the cookbook again. A cookbook is a red book that Carl got in the last floor where a bunch of other crawlers from the past, 23 other crawlers from the past, are putting in information in the book and telling future crawlers that will read this, you know, like hints of what they can do. And no, he can never tell anybody about the cookbook. He can never tell anybody about it. So he goes in the bathroom and reads it and adds more notes to it and tells, like, just in case someone in the future reads it. The system keeps trying to turn Carl into content, and Carl keeps turning content into disruption. The safe system moments are no longer safe. Chapters 21 to 23, NPC emotion and emotional whiplash. Uh, we meet Ghazi and his wife, a sandcastle. Um, yeah. Castle destruction, underwater survivor, shark circling, donut kitten, flashback, pancake flower, bath moment. We sure do. Carl admitting he sees donuts as something like a child. This is where the tone shifts. Hard. 1 minute you're in underwater survival horror, almost Subnautica vibes. Then you're in domestic memory flashback that feels like slice of life anime. Um, it reminded me of games like The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And emotionally, the donut flashback is the grounding point. It reinforces something huge. Carl doesn't think of Dawn as a teammate anymore. He thinks of her as family, and that changes everything about how he moves through the dungeon. Earlier in the book, he tells Katya, a girl that can change into anything. She's a clay. She, Katya, last book, told us that she was gonna adopt, and she told one of the NPCs, like, who has babies, 1,000 babies, and she asked Mongo, not Mongo. She asked Donut, "Hey, do you have any kids?" And Donut's all like, "No, just Mongo, the dinosaur." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool. And what about you, Katya?" Katya's all like, "Oh, I was gonna adopt, and then your people came and destroyed the world." Good shit. Good talk. Thanks. Thanks, by the way. Appreciate that. And she's like, "Oh, our bad." Um, so he tells Katya, like, "Yeah, I never wanted kids. Just been, it's like, I can't even take care of myself." And with the girlfriend that he was with, and Donut kept saying, it's like, there were so many times that she said that she was pregnant. It's like, yo, those were lies. And like he doesn't want to deal with that because he had Donut. Like Donut was his kid. And for dog parents, I felt that. I was like, yeah, exactly. We were like, um our dogs, our cats, everything, our pets are our kids. Like imagine all the stuff we have to do for them, and now imagine that times 10 with a child, with a real child. So like yeah, he said that. Um and then he has a flashback with her. He's making pancakes, has the flour, has the eggs, everything else on there. And here comes Donut, the little cat, a kitten at the time, drops everything, freaks out, gets on the flour, has flour all over her fur, gets on the eggs, gets on everything, and burns herself and burns him. He cuts himself. So he has to grab her and take her to the bathroom and give her a shower, give her a bath. And she's like scratching him all over and acting all crazy and saying no and everything. So when they're submerged underwater, that whole moment came with that. And then we flash forward to now, and he's like holding her in his arms, and it's like, I got you," and they submerge up there, and she's fine. So he saved her life and everything, and he's all like, "I'm glad you're alive still." Um, what else? Chapter 24, bad decisions. Yes. Then we hit one of the most chaotic chapters. So we go from that whole flashback to one of the most chaotic chapters. We meet Samantha. Nyx, Samantha is a sentient sex doll head. And somehow she's not even the strangest part of the chapter. Um, oh, Samantha. It's just a doll, a head. We talked about Ghazi and his wife, the sandcastle, which is, hold on, because I made things. A sand bride. The sand bride. That's what she looked like in order for him to marry her. What That's what she actually looks like right here. Um, and it turns out that she's just a sex doll head. There you go. There. And um, and they treat her like a joke, a tragic NPC. And Mordecai shuts down Carl's curiosity about ninth floor. Because they're on the sixth. They're on the what floor? They're on the fourth floor. They're on the fifth floor. And he finds out something about the ninth floor, and I was like, "Can we go to the ninth floor?" Like you can basically traverse yourself. You can traverse to the ninth floor immediately. You can go straight there, like a pipe in Mario Brothers, where you can just go to different worlds right away. And Mordecai is all like, "No, you're not going there. It's too early. You need to like level up and stuff." And um, Mordecai shuts down Carl, saying, "Nope, not your problem yet." Scott delivered the most accurate read of Carl in the entire book so far. Are you doing something stupid? Are you about to do something stupid? And Carl says yes. Um, Across chapters 15 to 24, the structure becomes very clear. Serious chapters are mystery, interrogation, emotional weight, system pressure, stakes rising. And then from those chapters, the next chapter is the absurd NPC, the head, um, the goose, chaos missions, unhinged humor, emotional whiplash. It's like the dungeon refused to let tension sit too long. And that's why book four feels different from books one to three. Book one had great boss fights. It did. It had some of the greatest boss fights ever. Book two has survival horror escalation. Book two felt like um, Dead by Daylight, Until Dawn, all those all those games combined, where we had a whole storyline there, and they had to survive the storyline. Book three had a system mastery and brutal structure fights like the Iron Tangle. Book three was about a train and trying to figure out where the trains go and destroying the trains, and it was just ridiculous and crazy, but it one of the death scenes is why the book became one of my favorites. Like, I am willing to bypass this whole storyline because a death scene happened here that I wasn't expecting for 3 books straight. Um, Book 4 feels like what if the dungeon itself became a streaming reality show with no off switch? And that's what this is. Um, just when you think book 1 had the best boss fights, book 4 shows you otherwise in the most absurd way. Boss fights are now environmental puzzles, political consequences, and audience events, system experiments. Even something like the slime castle destruction sequence doesn't feel like a standard boss anymore. It feels like a raid wipe that changes the entire map state. Um, this whole stretch also reminds me of reality TV, like editing, manipulation. It's everything that they do in the recap episodes. Everybody keeps saying that's not what really happened. That's not what really happened, and it just reminds me of how in some of the shows, Big Brother, The Challenge, Survivor, like the cast will come out it's like out of context. That's not what really happened. Here's what really happened. What happened was this and this and this. So like this whole place is becoming to where it do you do you believe what happened in the fight between Ifechi and Lucia Mar, or do you not? We're telling you that this is what happened. We're editing it this way, but what really happened is up to you to decide. Because Florent could and Ifechi could have been the ones that instigated the whole thing, and Lucia Mar would have been the one that was defending herself. So this whole thing that she killed um, Ifechi was self-defense. Um, Old school myth arcs where God tests humans through chaos. The audience, the system, and the dungeon itself all feel like active participants in Carl's story. Final thought of chapter 15 to 24. It's not just survival, it's not just combat, but a living ecosystem of stories constantly reacting to Carl's existence. And the more Carl tries to stabilize it, the more the system pushes it back with something stranger. If book 3 was Carl learning how to navigate a machine, book 4 feels like the machine is learning how to respond to Carl. And as for the ranking of my favorite books so far, it's going to be book 4, because everything is going on. Like it's moving along nicely where it's like something crazy, something unhinged, something crazy, something unhinged, decompression, something crazy. Um, the first death of the season, the first death of the book is just all in the first half of the book. And then number one, number four is number one, number three is number two, because the whole Hecla um, death scene. Like you go from chapter book one and two and two, finding out that this Amazon is a is watching Carl closely, and she has her own squad, and she tell she asked him, "Can you take one of my girls so that she can level up also? Because I have all these people here and they're leveling up, but she's leveling up very slow." So he says yes, he takes her. At the same time, I had this whole thing where I felt like she was sent in to got kicked out. She was sent in to spy on him. I was wrong. They set it up to where Hecla, the Amazon, sent her in so to find out what he was about. She wasn't spying on him. She was more like relaying messages to Hecla because she wanted to fit in with Hecla. She wanted her approval. She wanted her shit. She wanted her approval. And by the time we get to the point where Hecla is meeting up with them in the third book, like she knows about Carl, but because she's seen all these recap episodes about how he acts, he's crazy. He's TB Carl to her, and she thinks it's real. And we find out later that in that book, in that same book, in number three, that she's been studying him. She's a psychotherapist, and she's just analyzing him. And she analyzed a different Carl. She analyzed TB Carl instead of just the real guy. So she thought she was doing a whole play out of it, and thought he would get mad and kill them if she did something crazy. Instead, Katya ended up killing Hecla, and I was like, "Holy shit! This is a crazy ass book. You're not afraid to kill off the strong character. Go for it." That became my favorite book at the time. Now this number four is my favorite right now. So number two is number three. Book uh so number one, number two. Number three, my favorite third book is book one, because it just tells you from the start what it's about, what's happening, everything, all the boss battles, all the stuff. I still remember all of them. I still know all the bosses, the neighborhood bosses. We got the hoarder, who is a Spanish speaking hoarder. We got the Shamenkas, who are named Rory and Lorelai from the Gilmore Girls by Donut. She named them that. And they become self aware. We got who else we got? The Danger Dingoes. We got the juicers, which are dinosaurs that are like juicing on steroids. The bad llamas, all that, like I remember those. We got floor one and floor two. And then the last one is book number two. I know it's a horror style book, but it just felt like, I wasn't feeling it. I was reading through it, but I wasn't feeling it at all. I was like, okay. Um, Two bosses that I already know: Serena Signet, because she was naked, obviously, the entire time, and the last boss, what's it called? The remix. That's it. Those were the bosses that I remember. So it's like book number 2 is my last one. Who else? Did we forget to mention someone else about this in book 3? Growler Gary. Growler Gary. Poor Growler Gary. He's probably just losing another arm. Growler Gary was awesome though. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. Those are my picks. I An hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm out. I know. I know. Oh shit. Anyway, all right. Let's get out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And just like that, another summer night on the porch comes to a close. Today, we covered a little bit of everything. We checked in on the World Cup as the round of 32 gets underway and looked at who's still chasing the dream of lifting the biggest trophies in sports. We reacted to everything that happened at Night of Champions. No, we didn't. um, we're here. Might as well talk about it. All right. The last thing. Let's talk about the last thing that happened today. Fucking hell. Um, what's it called? Night of Champions. Wow, Sami Zayn. Oh my god. Obafemi defeated Jey Uso. I know. Uh, uh, King Obafemi, Io Sky defeated Liv Morgan, Queen Io Sky. I did not see that coming either. It wasn't in our bingo card at all. Seth Rollins defeated Braun Breaker in a steel cage match. Trick Williams with Lil Yachty defeated Ricky Saints for the United States Championship. After the match, Lil Yachty. Oh my goodness, Lil Yachty, Lil Yachty. I wasn't expecting. I was never. He might just. Okay, we're good. We see you, Lil Yachty. We see you. We see you. People. Yes. Let me get to this part, please. Let me get to it because it's so fucking hilarious that we had this Travis Scott incident last year. We're still talking about Travis Scott. We had the Travis Scott incident last year. This was supposed to be Travis Scott's part right here. And Lil Yachty took over, and that is the best thing that's ever happened. Because Lil Yachty just like, you don't expect him to be a type of person that does moves and shit. Where Travis Scott felt like he was stiff when he punched John Cena, or not John Cena, Cody Rhodes last year, or Lil Yachty understands, I don't want to hurt you. So, like, okay, I get it. All right, Nix. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Be safe. Thanks for hanging out. Love you. Be safe. Talk to you guys soon. Good night. Oh man, Lil Yachty is just like, we need somebody protect him. Don't release him. Let him have moments like this, please. Because that was the highlight. The highlight was Lil Yachty doing the people's elbow, and the fact that he just slammed fucking Ricky Saints and then did this, and I'm just like, are you serious? So he did the whole thing, did the people's elbow, the little boat. That's the people's boat. Um, that was fun though. 10:50. Seth Rollins but Braun Breaker was 19 minutes long. That felt forever. He did it perfectly. He did. Yes, he did. Um, Tiffany Stratton defeated Jade Cargill for the United States Championship. 7 minutes and 35. And then the crazy part of the night, Sami Zayn defeated Cody Rhodes and Gunter for the Undisputed WWE Championship. That wasn't on my bingo card at all. I wasn't expecting that at all. No way. No way. No way. Why? Why? Why did Rhodes try to do a double crossroads on both of them? What is wrong with you? Why would you think that was a great idea? Um. Anyway, so what? Our predictions came true, except for that one last match. So it's like, yeah, basically, like somebody heard our predictions. Like, all right, here we can't have all six predictions come true. Here's the last one. You you get Sami Zayn as the world champion. And somebody has said, like, all right, you get Sami Zayn as the world champion until next year's WrestleMania because we're going to Saudi Arabia. Son of a bitch. What? Oh, no, I feel like he might lose it on Friday. Or I was like, if we do, damn. Kevin Owens comes back, congratulates him. Of course, does the same thing he does every time. And SummerSlam? You think SummerSlam? All right. Does the same thing every time and throws him against there, and that's it. He's done. No more. Um, so that's it right there. Yeah, that's all. That's all we're doing. All right, let's head out of here. Um, we have no. We'll do this next week. We have what was the late night show you stayed up to watch at 2 a.m. Um, we'll do this one next week, but just to let you guys know, there's one in there, and it's filtered, and obviously it's porn. 2 a.m. So yeah, that's the one that's filtered in. You can't no, you can't see that. Anyway, we're headed out. It's the last one, I swear. And just like that, another summer night on the porch comes to a close. Today we covered a little bit of everything. We checked in on the World Cup as the round of 32 gets underway and looked at who's still chasing the dream of lifting the biggest trophy in sports. I thought Portugal was gone. I really did. I guess they were added in. I don't know. Okay. My bad. We reacted to everything that happened at Night of Champions, celebrated predictions we got right, and accepted the ones that didn't exactly go our way. It didn't. It had nothing to do with not going our way. It's just like, why? We took a look behind the scenes of the podcast and checked the analytics. We haven't done shit. We didn't do that either. Oh my goodness! You guys want to do this? I'm not in my. I'm not in. I'm not doing shit. I'm not doing things right today. Sorry, I apologize. Um, for those wondering what the situation is, we have been just chilling. We have 27,672 downloads of all time. Um, the last episode, our everybody's listening. Everybody's listening basically. Six downloads. No, that's not it. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Six downloads for the predictions past few days. Um, the one before that is 15. I love that. FIFA World Cup stuff is 26. So everybody's listening to the FIFA stuff. As for which countries are listening, like I'm hoping to get more. I want to hear more countries, but like I got like 66. I get that, but let's go. Let's go do more. Let's go get more. Come on. Come on, countries. We got this. Okay. We're done. We're done. We're done. Took a look. Yeah, we did all the thing. We talked about Sony removing hundreds of digital movies and TV shows. And once again, it reminds us why there's something special about having your favorite movies, games, and shows sitting on a shelf where no one can take them away. We put on our detective hats and started theorizing about X-Men 1917 and 2 because let's be honest, half the fun of being a fan is trying to guess what's coming next. And of course, we spend a little more time in the wonderful, chaotic world of Dungeon Crawler Carl. Every time I think of these books can't surprise me anymore, they somehow find another gear and give us a head. Samantha's head. Book 4 is making me laugh, stress out, and immediately want to read the next chapter. If you've been following along with the read through, thank you for making that journey just as much fun as the podcast itself. And if you haven't started the series yet, don't be surprised if I accidentally convinced you before the summer is over. I'm probably convinced Nick's about it as well. Next week, we'll continue keeping an eye on the World Cup as the knockout rounds roll on. Uh, Portugal has Portugal, man. You're fucking up. You're fucking up. Give Ronaldo the ball, I guess. We'll see which countries are still standing, which Cinderella stories continue, and which powerhouse nations find themselves packing their bags early. We'll also have more nostalgia, more pod deck conversations, more top five lists, more debates, more stories from all of you, because that's what makes this place feel like home, even though it's not home. It's our third place. All right, before we really go, take a breath with me. It's summer. The days are longer. August going to be longer. The nights somehow go by too fast. So take a little time this week. Go outside, watch a sunset. We have sun until like 6 or 7 or 8. Go watch the sunset. Go hang out. Don't blow yourself up, please. But, watch the fireworks. Play a game. Play some soccer. Play some basketball. Play some tennis. Read a chapter of a book. Go to the library. Call a friend. Make a memory that future you will smile about. Thank you for spending this time here in my third place. Not home, not work. Just a space where we show up, tell stories, laugh together, and leave the porch light on for whoever wants to stop by. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Stay cool out there on these hot, hot summer days. Drink some water. It's over there. I'm not going to go. Find some shade. Do what they do in the World Cup. Hydration time. Hydration moment every 5 minutes. Like they have some 5 minutes of hydration time. Drink some water. Find some shade. Relax. And if your team finds the back of the net this week, I expect you to celebrate properly. Not a polite golf clap, not a quiet fist pump. I mean the kind of celebration that has the neighbors wondering what just happened from the top of your lungs. Golazo! We'll see you next week. Love you guys. Bye. Um, should we do like? Oh, damn it, Bison! You missed out. Good show. Good show. Oh my god. Oh man, that was hilarious. I can't wait for the episode. Um, no, I was gonna say, should we open up a pack before we move on? Before we go, like an after show, or this one? Which one do you guys want? Perfect order. Let's, let's open up a pack. This is the part of the show where you guys weren't expecting, huh? All right, here we go. I don't usually open up packs on the podcast, but hey, we're gonna try something different today. And I also hate doing the whole energy first, so it's whatever. What the hell? All right, here we go. Crushing hammer, Salandit, Scatterbug, Snorlax, Barbaracle, Rose's Encouragement, Vivillon, Lumosity, Barbaracle, and who's that? Ooh, Mega Zygarde. Yeah, let's go. Bam. I already have this one. I think I do. It's not master set, but it's already a set. I'm not gonna be able to collect all of them. But yeah, there you go. This one is going in the whole what's it called? The Pokédex with the regulars and the megas as well. So um yeah, that's what's happening. And pretty much you wanna see the whole Pokédex? How it's going? This is how it's going. Pretty terrible. Cause I started over and stuff. So here's my Pokédex. Like I said, I was gonna do Ivysaur, Venusaur. What? Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, Mega Venusaur. Same thing with Squirtle, Mega Blastoise, Charizard, Mega Charizard at the very end. And then I'm trying to look for Mega Beedrill. I got Mega Pidgeot. Um, and then Rattata at the very end over here. And then the next one is Alone Rattata, Raticate, Alone Raticate. And we're just going to continue on. I got Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu, and there's going to be a Lone Raichu. So for this one, right over here, I got Igglybuff, Jigglypuff, Wigglytuff, and Screamtail as the prehistoric at the very end of it. Because why not? Again, it's the way I want to do it. It's going to be real crazy. All right, here's the situation. I'm going to have to remove all these cards because I got a Mega Clefable. So Cleffa, Clefairy, Clefable, Mega Clefable. Great. It's a learning process, guys. It's a learning process. So yeah, all right. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. We're good. We're good. We're heading out now. We're heading out for real. Thank you for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Enjoy these little last moments of the episode. But see y'all later. Have a great night. Enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me and having a fun time with everything that we just learned today. See y'all later. What should I outro be? I don't fucking know. Good.